Hey, what's up? So today we're going to look at finally another Miyanishi Keizo book. This one here in the middle, titled Lyrica. So in total, I think I've read maybe 3 of Miyanishi's books so far. These ones I'm not going to go through today, but the reason I have them back in the backdrop is because Lyrica is actually a compilation of a bunch of Miyanishi Keizo's short stories that were published from 77 to 79. So we're looking at a book that takes a little bit from all of these different books here. So we've got the Flower book, we've got Pipu, got some stories from the Boyhood short story collection that I've showed off before, and also Esther too. So a lot of these stories I have actually seen before, but because there are so many of them, there's actually still quite a number of them that I haven't even shown off before. And this, after reading Lyrica, is definitely my favorite release so far out of the stuff that I've read for Miyanishi. It just escalates everything that were in those, short story collections before, and these are all self-selected as well, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, amazing cover. Got this hardcover here, and some background about Miyanishi. I have shown his works before in the past, but just to go over a little summary of who he is. So they started drawing manga, erotic manga, in I think 1976. So they were the assistant for mangaka and animator Mamoru Misaki. And so after the 70s boom of Ero manga, he went on to do more illustrations, and he was also a part of the band Onna, which means woman, which had reached the #1 position on the Japanese Indies chart in 1983. And if you've read his works, you can see a lot of the influences he takes from Russian literature as well, and very eroguro. I would say his works are one of my favorites in terms of that world of manga. And so yeah, the reason why I decided to hop on and read another Miyanishi work was recently there was an interview sort of, or a series of interviews actually, that were put out that detail Miyanishi's current battle with, I believe it's some sort of maybe intestinal cancer, which really sucks to hear, but I will link those videos in the description. They are subbed in English, which is I was not expecting at all, so you can go through and understand everything that they're talking about. He also talks about his outside of making manga, his daily routine, that sort of thing. But yeah, if you're interested in that, please take a look at the links in the description. So in these books here, Miyanishi was around the ages of 18 to 20 apparently, with all these books, short stories that were shown off in this section here. So what we'll go through is, and another disclaimer I would say as well would be that a lot of the artwork and the pages in this manga I won't be able to show off because obviously they're very erotic, and there are a lot of stories in this book as well. So a lot of the short stories are quite short, only a couple pages in length. So I will skip over those and I guess focus on the ones that were the most appealing to me and I found the most shocking, that sort of thing. But yeah, so we'll get started, and again you will see some repeats of some stories from those previous books. So that's also why I put these books in the background here, just to give you something to look at while I find suitable pages to actually show off. But the first short story that we have here, #1, an insanely I guess abstract surreal page here. The first story that we have is titled Poor Flute, and it's pretty much about this boy whose father is dead. His mom has gone crazy pretty much, and the story follows him trying to earn money for the family. But the way he does that is that he goes around pretty much sleeping with people. And unfortunately, his mum, because she is delirious, he does get a beat. So his home life is not great at all. But the first thing that you notice is the intricacy of the art is always so strong when it comes to Miyanishi. That's kind of his defining trait. But there you go, we have the mother here. And I believe in this scene, she's kind of just reminiscing or like looking back, sort of pushing herself into delusion and that happy place that was when the father was still alive. But we've also got a very interesting panel here where it's like extremely veiny eyes. Way more than you would ever get in real life. But yeah, the next couple of pages I will have to skip, but there is a lot of intricate line work like this. Some of it's so fine with its detail that it can be hard sometimes to figure out what is actually being shown on the screen. But let me show off this panel here, which I think is so cool. Miyanishi also does really well with portraying anger in people's faces. And there are a lot of violent scenes, to be honest, throughout this whole book here. Yeah, the next one that we have is Futanari no Yoru. It's pretty much about two people in a hotel having fun, and it's like this hotel waiter or something gets involved and he gets beat up of sorts, but I can't really show any of it, so I apologize. But yeah, if you do have this book and you don't read Japanese, that's kind of what is happening. And sometimes we've also got these nice intermission panels as well. And so the next story that we have, which I definitely cannot show, is one that is titled Chicken Boy. And that is the cover of Lyrica. And the reason why I can't show Chicken Boy is because it's a short one, but the contents of it is was insane. I think it's the most insane thing I've seen from Miyanishi so far. But we essentially have a boy pictured over here and a mother who is wanting some eggs, kind of obsessed with eggs. But there is some business that goes down between the boy and the chicken, and he goes home and lays an egg. That's all I'll really say about this. It is 100% the craziest work that I've seen from Miyanishi, and it's only 4 pages also. But it's also a story that is very packed full with tiny little panels, and I guess that makes sense because it's only 4 pages. But I thought I was pretty familiar with Miyanishi stuff, but I guess not when it comes to Chicken Boy. So I think it's a new level of his works that I have to get used to. But yeah, that was Chicken Boy. So we'll move on to another one that is called Pollen. And this one I was not too sure about, but it's more of like just prose and big panels of arts, but it's something to do with liking men. And throughout this book here, while I was reading it, I did read it in a couple of different sittings because there's just so many stories to go through. It's kind of like a start-stop sort of thing, especially because a lot of the stories are only a couple pages, but you also get these amazing panels. This was a really refreshing one to just flick through because you've got these just double page spreads and also a really cool piece of imagery of these heads growing out of flowers, like little buds, which I think is actually kind of cute. It can be, like, in terms of the imagery, can be pretty horrific, but I guess I can see how it could be like a pretty sort of thing, but Miyanishi can do both. He can do both. So yeah, let's move on to another one called oh, actually, before we do that, there's an intermission panel which I really love. When you talk about detail, this is the detail that you really associate with Miyanishi. It's a very deformed figure of a person with limbs growing out of their hair and that sort of thing. It's just crazy. I hope the camera can really capture that detail. Yeah. So next one, I've actually shown up before in, it's called Angel Hill. I believe it was in, I think it was in Esther. So Esther is this one here. It's quite a violent one. But essentially it is about a girl's partner that is beat up because her parents don't approve of them, I guess. And it's the girl wishing for the person to be revived, kind of, because I guess they're like turned into pretty much a vegetable. And in terms of violence, I think it's one of the most violent works that Miyanishi has drawn out of everything I've seen. It was a bit of a tough read, but it's so visceral in terms of the emotions that he portrays, in just these little slanted panels that, like, you know, pan over to those iconic eyes. Very iconic. Extremely veiny. But yeah, while I was reading through Lyrica, I was thinking about how many other books that I needed from Miyanishi. I honestly am missing not too much. I've got a couple. Not that he's released a lot. I would say that I'm missing. There's another Rose book which has like a red rose with a brownish background on it, and also a blue and orange book. I will find the names of those in the description, and I'll put them in the description. But yeah, I pretty much nearing completion on what he's done. And he's also done like some other smaller doujin works. One of them which is like a green one I've seen on sale before, but I didn't really pick it up because I was kind of preoccupied with other stuff. But yeah. And I do know there are a lot of fans of Miyanishi that watch the videos, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's always great to talk about Miyanishi, even though I don't read him as often, but every time it's something as well where I kind of want to save his works for when I'm ready or when I'm in a reading slump, because I kind of don't want to, you know, breeze through everything and binge everything in one go, where after I'm done there's kind of nothing else, because, you know, he hasn't really been producing anything. But there was also something I read as well where he had an exhibition, but it was a long time ago, because I was thinking like if he did any exhibitions recently or anything like that, because I haven't seen any pictures or any news of that, because his artwork definitely is exhibition material, like to the core. Imagine seeing this artwork up close in detail. It'll be insane. And even more insane would be something like an art book, but I get why he doesn't have an art book. And by the way, this story here is called Moon Garden, another work that was showcased, I believe, in Esther as well. Pretty much about a woman who grieves over the death of a loved one, interspersed throughout with gotta censor that, throughout with this imagery of a crow. But to this date, it is still one of my favorite stories. One, because it's simple, but two, because there's a specific panel later on here that I think is so iconic. Like the texture of the brains that are coming out, which I assume are brains. They look like intestines or some amalgamation of organs and I don't know, flora in everything. But yeah, it's so sick. Love this one so much. And it should give us, yeah, a little close-up of, not a little actually, a big close-up of that artwork. Insane stuff. So we are halfway through the book so far. Next couple ones, I will flip through a little bit faster and I'll give a brief summary of each of them. So this one on the left, it's called Big Black Rock. Essentially a couple who get really freaky on a beach. That's about it. It's tough for me to show any of the artwork, but some nice panels like this. Again, I apologize because I'm trying to find suitable panels to actually showcase. This is a cool one. Got a horizontal page here, which the first thing I thought of when I saw this was that it reminded me of the Tsuge Yoshiharu story, like On the Shore or something like that, which had a really unique mood to it that I liked a lot. No real direct comparison to it. It was just something that I was reminded of while reading it. This next one is called Melon Rock. Another rock, actually. So it's kind of like a love story where two women named Melon and Ringo, they're both in love with the same man named Kazuo, and there's kind of just some drama between them. While I'm flicking through these, I'll talk about as well. Today, I'm recording this at the 8th of April. I have not recorded a video since the 21st of March, I believe, because I've been very busy. And I have no idea if the previous video that I recorded that date would be out or whether I wanted to release it, but I did record another video where it was just me talking without any plans or any research or anything like that, because yeah, with these videos I kind of do have to prepare a lot just to like know what I need to talk about, what the stories are about, that sort of thing. So I do need to have a lot of notes, but because I've been busy, I had tried recording a video where there was sort of no prep and it was just me talking, and kind of like an episode where you don't have to watch the video, you can kind of listen to it. But yeah, we'll see whether at this point I still haven't released it at all, so I'm still kind of debating whether I want to release that, because it is, I guess, very different from the stuff that I usually post with information on the stuff I'm reading. But yeah, it kind of depends what I feel like. But yeah, that was Melon Rock. This one is called 17-Year-Old Concubine. This is a insanely detailed, very inked panel there. It's a story that is about her name. What was her name? I don't think she's given a name exactly, but she chooses to be a concubine, and I think her lover or boyfriend finds out, that sort of thing. This panel also kind of, this dude in the middle reminds me of Frankenstein's monster. Okay, what do we have here? Yeah, I can't really show that. Speaking of Frankenstein, I still haven't read Her Frankenstein by Norikazu yet. Still got it on my shelf, but just been so busy. I haven't even been reading at all, to be honest. This one's called Changes. It's about a very troubled sister who has a lot of like suicidal thoughts. Nice panel, but yeah, I haven't been reading at all. I wish I was reading more, but with how busy I am, I'm just so tired where I don't really have the urge to right now. So if I am reading, I'm reading English works. So books that are translated in English. I did actually purchase an English manga recently. Taiyo Matsumoto's Tokyo These Days. I've got that in English because I just decided, yeah, why not? It looks cool in English, so I'll just get it instead of getting in Japanese. So we'll show that off in a future video. But I have just been rambling. I don't know where I'm at in the story at the moment. Let me quickly just check. My apologies. So this next one, yeah, this one here. Friend Angel number 5. Interesting name, but this is another very violent and bloody one. I've no idea what the story is, but we have this woman here who murders this man in a hotel room. Unsure as to why, but whoop. She is crying, so there's got to be something behind there. But yeah, violent. I know, even though there was the only violent panel was this panel here. It's such a, I think it's the way that they're posed, where he's just lying with his head rolled back and she's just standing there like some, I don't know, it just seems very chill. That it, for me, just escalates the violence. Yeah, interesting one there. Next one is, it's called Your Courage in My Ass. Due to obvious reasons, I cannot show anything. But it's actually the story that features Pipyu. So Pipyu is the name of this collection here. But Pipyu is actually the name of a man in the story of Your Courage is in My Ass. So it's what that story, just to explain it, is that the scene starts with the woman and Jet having fun together while Pipyu is playing in the background. So Pipyu is like some, I guess, their friend, something like that. Jet goes out to meet another man, but he rejects him, but the man kind of retaliates and beats him and drops him off at the room all bloodied. So it's a really tragic story, and I will show that last scene there, so I will say spoilers for that, but very violent. Here he is at the bottom left. It's so visceral and raw, and everything that Miyanishi has shown off. There is Pipyu holding Jet. Yeah, it's just a very, very tragic scene. Super tragic. Okay, so we're moving on to the last, I would say, quarter of the book. We've got this story here called Physical Relationships, which is something to do with longing and wishing for the woman's sister to stay behind. Can't really show a lot of intimate moments. Very slick rain throughout. Next we have a work that is titled Congestion Fruit, where we have another character that's also named Melon. I don't know if it's the same Melon that we saw in Melon's Rock or whatever that other story was called, but yeah, it's kind of Melon sitting in the bottom of a well, pleasuring themselves while someone else on top of the well also does that too. So interesting story, I guess. Next one is Joy and Trembling. Not too sure what that was about. Another one called Toes of the Night. Man, I apologize again, I can't show anything at all for this one. Toes of the Night is about a woman and a man doing it, but as the climax approaches, the man is scooped up into the air and they whisked away. I can't pronounce that word. Whisked away into the air, and she is crying because of it. So interesting. Then we have Oniyuri Princess. I have no idea what the story was about, but this has some really cool animal drawings and flowers and trees, debris, flora and fauna, and even more bloodied scenes here. I wish it knew. I wish I knew what it was about, but I'm happy just even experiencing the art in general. Okay, and we've got this another cool scene here. And then our final story is titled Tale of May. So 5月物語. May as in the month, 5th month of the year. And this one actually, yes, this was an Esther. It's about this tale of a jealous lover with another insanely violent display of violence. Did I say violence twice? I apologize if I'm not speaking properly today, but yeah. And one of my favorite panels ever, up the top here, his head just flying off with very, not going to lie, very pretty blood. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a tree. It looks like an insect's wing. You know, on flies they have those veins or whatever. Kind of looks like that, which I really love. And yeah, that was the end of Lyrica. And so we have an afterword here that's gives some background to the stories, and then we have the full table of contents where it details from which collection it was from. So tons and tons of stories. And I don't think it says the magazine. No, they're just from, it just shows you where which collected tankobon it was taken from. But yeah, made in 1994. So that was Lyrica by Miyanishi Keizo. So in terms of these types of videos where as of recently, I've been just doing like videos that feature like compilations, pretty much like multiple books in one video. I used to do a lot more of these videos where I would just show one book and go through it in detail. I'm trying not to do that as much because I do prefer the variety more, but Lyrica for me definitely deserved having its own video. And I think the reason why I try to not do those single videos anymore is because I guess it can get kind of like a bit boring if I'm just going through the book one by one, talking about stories one by one. But yeah, I think at least for me, but for books that deserve it, definitely they will have their own video like Lyrica, just because it's just so out there, and it really needs that extended runtime of a video to kind of hook you in. And I love talking about Miyanishi Keizo as well. So yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. In terms of the next Miyanishi, it will be a while before I read his next work, because again, I am saving his works for when I'm in a reading slump. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that again. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.